Welcome. Let everything soften now. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw unclench. Let the day dissolve like sugar in warm water. Tonight, I'm going to tell you stories about wanting, about desire, about the difference between need and greed, between wisdom and foolishness, between knowing when to hold on and when to let go. These are tales from the Panchatantra, stories of monkeys and dogs, crows and crocodiles, creatures who teach us about contentment, about patience, about the cost of always wanting more. But tonight, these stories are not lessons. They are simply here to carry you gently towards sleep. There are 4 tales woven together. You don't need to follow every word. You don't need to remember the morals. Just let the stories wash over you like evening breeze through leaves. The first story begins now, in a grove beside a river, where a monkey lived in a jamun tree, and friendship almost became a fatal mistake. There was a jamun tree, tall, old. Its branches spread wide over the riverbank, providing shade in the heat of the day and shelter from the rain. The tree bore fruit every season, dark purple jamuns, sweet and juicy, more than anyone could eat. In this tree lived a monkey. He was content. He had everything he needed: food hanging from every branch, water flowing below, a comfortable place to sleep, the warm sun, the cool breeze. He was happy. Alone, yes, but happy. Every day, he would eat the jamuns, the ripe ones that were soft and sweet, and he would toss the unripe ones into the river below, watching them splash and disappear in the current. One day, as he was tossing fruit into the water, he heard a voice. "Why are you wasting good fruit?" The monkey looked down. In the river, half submerged, was a crocodile, large, green-brown, his eyes just above the water's surface, watching. "It's not ripe yet," the monkey called down. "I only eat the ripe ones." The crocodile swam closer to the bank. "May I have one? I'm hungry." The monkey hesitated. He had never shared his fruit before. He had never needed to. But something about the crocodile's voice was friendly, polite. So the monkey picked a ripe jamun and tossed it down. The crocodile caught it in his jaws. He ate it slowly, savoring the sweetness. "That is delicious," he said. "I have never tasted anything so good." The monkey felt pleased, proud. "Come back tomorrow," he said. "There's plenty." The crocodile returned the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. Every day, the monkey would throw down fruit, and every day, the crocodile would eat and talk. They became friends. The monkey told stories about the forest. The crocodile told stories about the river. They laughed together. They shared silences together. The monkey was no longer alone, and he was happy for it. One day, the crocodile said, "My wife would love to taste these jamuns. May I bring some home to her?" The monkey gathered the ripest, sweetest fruits and gave them to the crocodile, who carried them carefully in his jaws. The next day, the crocodile returned, but his expression was different. Troubled. "What's wrong, friend?" the monkey asked. The crocodile was quiet for a moment. "My wife, she loved the fruit, but then she said something." "What did she say?" The crocodile looked away, unable to meet the monkey's eyes. "She said, 'If the fruit is so sweet, the creature who eats it every day must have an even sweeter heart. She wants me to bring her your heart. She wants to eat it.'" Silence. The monkey stared at his friend. His stomach tightened. "And what did you say?" The crocodile finally looked up. "I told her I would try. She is my wife. She is sick. She says eating your heart will cure her. I don't want to do this, friend. But she will not stop asking. She will not eat. She is wasting away." The monkey's mind raced. Fear, betrayal, confusion, but he was clever. He had not survived this long in the forest by being foolish. He forced himself to speak calmly. "My heart? Of course. If it will save your wife, I will give it to you." The crocodile looked surprised. "You will?" "Yes, but there is one problem." "What?" The monkey gestured to the tree. "Monkeys don't keep their hearts in their bodies all the time. We hang them on branches to keep them safe while we eat and play. Mine is hanging high up in the tree. Come closer to the bank, and I'll climb down. We can go get it together." The crocodile, desperate and not thinking clearly, believed him. He swam to the bank. The monkey climbed down and sat on the crocodile's back. "Take me to the middle of the river," the monkey said. "That's where I hung my heart, on a branch that hangs over the deepest part." The crocodile swam out. The current grew stronger, the water deeper, and then the monkey said, "Actually, I've changed my mind." The crocodile stopped. "What?" I lied. "My heart is inside me, as all hearts are, and I'm not giving it to you or your wife." He leaped from the crocodile's back, grabbed a low-hanging branch, and pulled himself to safety. The crocodile thrashed in the water, angry and humiliated. "You tricked me. You tried to kill me," the monkey called back, "for your wife's greed, for a cure that was never real. You betrayed our friendship for nothing." The crocodile had no answer. He swam away, ashamed. The monkey returned to his tree. He was alive, but he was alone again. And he understood something now that he hadn't before, that not all friendships are safe, that generosity can be mistaken for weakness, that some people, when faced with desire, will sacrifice anything, even trust, even love. The monkey still threw fruit into the river, but he never spoke to the crocodile again. The sun moved across the sky. The shadows shifted. The river flowed on, indifferent to the stories that unfolded along its banks. And in a village not far from the grove, the second story was beginning. There was a dog, thin, hungry, the kind of stray that survives on scraps and cunning. He had no home, no master, just the streets and whatever food he could find. One day, he was searching through the village, nose to the ground, when he smelled something wonderful. Meat. He followed the scent to a house where a butcher worked. There, sitting unguarded on a table, was a bone, a large bone with meat still clinging to it. The dog looked around. No one was watching. He grabbed the bone in his jaws and ran. He ran through the village, past the houses, past the fields, until he reached the edge where a stream flowed through the forest. He paused to catch his breath. He looked at the bone. It was perfect, the best thing he'd found in weeks, maybe months. He was so happy, so satisfied. He started to cross the stream. There was a log that had fallen across it, making a natural bridge. He walked carefully, the bone clamped tight in his jaws, and then he looked down. In the water below, he saw another dog. The dog was looking up at him, and in that dog's mouth was a bone that looked even larger than his own, even better. The dog on the log stared, his mind filled with desire, with greed. He wanted that bone too. Without thinking, he opened his mouth to bark, to challenge the other dog, to take what was his. And the moment he opened his mouth, his own bone fell. It splashed into the water and was carried away by the current, disappearing downstream. The other dog disappeared too, because there had never been another dog. It had been his own reflection, his own bone, and now he had nothing. He stood on the log, panting, realizing what he'd done. He had lost everything because he wanted more, because what he had wasn't enough, because he couldn't see that the other dog was himself. He climbed down from the log and walked back to the village, hungry and alone. And he understood, too late, that greed doesn't give, it only takes. Even from ourselves. The afternoon deepened into evening. The light turned golden, then amber, then the deep blue of approaching night. Birds called their last songs before settling into silence. And in another part of the grove, near the oldest banyan tree, the third story was quietly unfolding. There was a crow, not young, not old, just a crow who had lived long enough to know how the world worked. He had a nest high in the banyan tree, a safe place, well hidden among the aerial roots and tangled branches. He lived there with his mate. They had eggs, 3 of them, small, fragile, precious. They took turns guarding the nest. One would stay while the other flew off to find food. Then they would switch. This was their life, simple, careful, loving. But there was danger. At the base of the banyan tree, in a hollow between the roots, lived a serpent, black, long, thick as a man's arm, the kind of snake that moves silently and strikes without warning. The crow had seen it many times, had watched it slide through the grass, had seen it coil in the shadows, and he was afraid. One day, while the crow was away searching for food, the serpent climbed the tree. It moved slowly, deliberately, up the trunk, along the branches, following the scent of eggs. When the crow returned, he found his mate in distress. One egg was gone, taken. The serpent had eaten it and disappeared back into its hollow. The crow was devastated, angry, but also helpless. What could he do? He was small. The serpent was deadly. A direct confrontation would mean death. Days passed. The 2 remaining eggs hatched. 2 chicks, tiny, vulnerable. The crows watched them constantly, never left them alone, never let their guard down. But one morning, while both crows were distracted by a hawk circling overhead, the serpent struck again. It climbed. It took one of the chicks, and it disappeared. The crow's mate wept, a sound no one should have to hear, the sound of a mother losing her child. The crow knew he had to do something, but what? He couldn't fight the serpent, couldn't move the nest. The chick that remained was too young to fly. So, he thought. He watched. He planned. Near the grove, there was a village. And in that village, there was a pond where the women of wealthy families would bathe. They would leave their jewelry on the banks, gold necklaces, bangles, earrings, unguarded while they were in the water. The crow flew to the pond. He watched. He waited. When the women went into the water, he swooped down. He grabbed a gold necklace in his beak, not a small one, a large one, expensive, valuable. The women screamed. The servants shouted. They chased after him. The crow flew slowly, deliberately, leading them, not away, but toward the banyan tree. When he reached the tree, he dropped the necklace directly into the hollow where the serpent lived. The servants arrived. They saw where the necklace had fallen. They reached in to retrieve it, and they found the serpent. It hissed. It struck. But there were too many of them. They had sticks. They had stones. They killed it. They took their necklace and left, and the hollow was empty. The crow returned to his nest. His mate was there with their remaining chick, safe now, finally safe. The crow had won, not through strength, not through direct confrontation, but through cleverness, through using the greed and anger of others to solve the problem he couldn't solve alone. The serpent was gone. The chick grew. Eventually, it flew, and the crows remained in their tree, grateful, vigilant, having learned that sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when to be clever instead of brave. Night had fully arrived now. The moon rose, casting silver light through the branches. The world was quiet except for the sounds of creatures settling into sleep. And high in the mountains, far from the grove, the fourth and final story was reaching its conclusion. There was a monkey king. He ruled over a troop of monkeys that lived in a mountain forest. They were his family, his responsibility, and he loved them. In this forest grew a special tree, a mango tree, but not just any mango tree. This tree produced the most delicious fruit anyone had ever tasted, sweet beyond measure, perfect. The Monkey King was wise. He knew that if word of this tree spread, it would bring danger. Humans would come. They would want the tree. They would want the fruit, and they would drive the monkeys away. So he made a rule. Every mango that grew had to be accounted for. Every fruit that fell had to be checked. None could escape into the river that flowed past the tree, because the river would carry it downstream to the kingdom of men. The monkeys followed his rule carefully. For years, they picked every fruit, let none escape. But one season, they missed one. A single mango, hidden high in the branches, overlooked. It ripened, it fell, and the river carried it away. Downstream, in the human kingdom, the king was bathing in the river, and this mango floated past him. He caught it, he tasted it, and his world changed. He had never tasted anything so perfect. He needed more. He needed to find this tree. He sent his men upstream. They searched, they found the tree, and they found the monkeys. The human king wanted the tree for himself. He wanted all the fruit. He wanted the monkeys gone. His soldiers surrounded the tree. They prepared to kill any monkey that didn't leave. The monkeys were trapped. The tree was on the edge of a cliff. Behind them was a drop. In front of them were soldiers. The Monkey King looked at his troop, at the young ones, the old ones, his family. He had to save them. There was another tree across the ravine, far away, too far to jump. But if there was a bridge, the Monkey King climbed to the highest branch on their tree, and then he leaped, not across the gap. He couldn't make it, no one could, but he leaped as far as he could, grabbing a branch of the distant tree. His body hung in the air, stretched across the gap. Quickly, he called to his troop, "Use me as a bridge, cross over my back." The monkeys hesitated, but there was no other way. One by one, they climbed onto their king. They walked across his back, using his body as a bridge. His spine bent, his arms ached, his grip weakened, but he held on. Every monkey crossed. The young ones, the mothers carrying babies, the elders, all of them. The last monkey crossed, and then the Monkey King could hold on no longer. He fell, not to his death. The humans caught him, but he was broken, his body shattered from the strain. They brought him to their king. The human king looked at this creature who had sacrificed everything for his people, and he was moved. "You gave yourself for them," the human king said quietly. "Why?" The Monkey King, barely able to speak, whispered, "Because they are mine to protect. A king does not rule to take, he rules to give, even if it costs him everything." The human king was silent for a long time. Then he ordered his men to let the monkeys keep their tree, to leave them in peace, to never disturb them again. The Monkey King died that night, but his troop was safe, and they remembered him, not as a ruler, but as a father, as someone who understood that true leadership is sacrifice, that contentment is not about having everything, It's about giving everything for what truly matters. And so all 4 stories end. The monkey who lost a friend but saved his life. The dog who lost his meal to his own greed. The crow who protected his family through cleverness. The monkey king who gave himself so others could live. 4 tales, 4 lessons about wanting and giving, about greed and sacrifice, about knowing when you have enough and when to offer everything. Let these stories rest in you now. Let your body completely relax. Let your breath become so soft you barely notice it. Let every thought drift away like leaves on water. You don't need more than you have. You don't need to be more than you are. You don't need to want anything in this moment except rest. The grove is quiet. The river flows on. The moon watches over everything with patient silver light. You are held. You are safe. You are enough. Sleep now. Let the monkeys rest in their trees. Let the dog find peace. Let the crow guard his nest. Let the king's sacrifice be remembered. And let you, finally, let go, rest.